Welcome back to part 2 of my Commander tutorial. Now that you're familiar with the basics, let's move on to tactics and strategies. Since you already know where your team is, most of the time you'll want to use the scan UAV ahead of your infantry lines or on points of interest, such as where you may want a cruise missile and AA vehicle. Make sure to use them as often as possible too. Knowing where enemies are on the minimap is important to your players. Not to mention it helps your score. When kills are made with enemies inside the scans, it gives you a scan UAV assist and constitutes a large portion of your score. Although commanders can issue scan UAVs, they can be countered with EMPs. They can also render tugs and motion sensors useless for a given area. Although there are plenty of other electronic devices, such as the UCAV, EOD bot, MAV, etc., EMPs don't affect them at all. They only affect devices that reveal an enemy's location on the map. Since the enemy already knows where their team is, it only makes sense to hide your own team's whereabouts from them. Make sure to use EMPs only on your own troops or where they might be headed. Even if your troops are capturing a flag or planting a bomb, put an EMP over them. The enemy will know they're in the vicinity, but won't know their numbers or their exact locations. To block an EMP, you can use the proxy attack. It will completely disable all enemy commander actions, including scans and EMPs. For squad perks, supply drops are the most important. Supply drops can greatly affect a region of interest. Use your supply drops in heavily congested groups of players and on the front lines. They are most likely to be injured, low on ammo, or unable to retreat and need help. A well-placed supply drop can make the difference between a squad capturing a flag or getting wiped out. Just be careful where you drop them. An Operation Locker, although you can issue a supply drop, it won't ever reach the ground. There is an invisible barrier that prevents it from landing, even along the outside path or on the open ceiling by the guard tower. So don't bother wasting your resources on it in that map. That's why it's important to know your maps and take terrain into account when dropping supplies. Squad promotions are useful, but more so as a communication device. One of the first actions you'll give during a match are issuing orders to your squad leaders. When they accept the orders, there is no better or quicker feedback than to issue a squad promotion. It acts as a reward to the squad leader for following the commander and lets them know that the commander is proactive. So later on, when they ask for orders, supplies, or vehicles, they know the commander will be more likely to help them out. Issuing orders to locations that the squad is already going to or is nearby will help with squad order acceptance. Nobody wants to go out of their way when there's another flag right next to them. To see their destination, look for a gray line coming from the squad leader. Sometimes squads need rapid deployment, and you should pay attention to who is alive or dead in each squad. If you have the resources and most of a squad is dead, use rapid deploy before the squad is wiped out so they can respawn back on their teammates. If you wait until they're all dead, then they might have to spawn at the closest flag, which could give up valuable territory. However, if the squad is going to be overrun, rapid deploy won't save them and the resources should be spared. Use your own discretion. Only should a commander use a vehicle drop upon request. Most of the time, players ignore them because they are defenseless transports and are easily taken out. They also use up nearly all of your squad assets for each one. You would be better off using them on the other actions because they will affect gameplay more directly and more often. One exception might be if a bomb carrier is getting away and your guys need a vehicle, but those situations are few and far between. When HVT tagging becomes available, they also temporarily become available as a destination. You can issue squads who attack the HVT and the location will be tracked by the squad to make locating them even easier. If the HVT isn't killed before their tag expires, the open movement order reverts to its original tag location. If the HVT stays put, this is fine, but if they are mobile, you'll need to retag them and issue a squad order again. If you have multiple HVTs available, pick one that is closest to the front line and preferably not in a vehicle, so they will be easier to kill. That's 3 extra points for both your team and the commander, and more likely to occur than tagging someone who's in the back of the map or is moving fast in a vehicle, and less likely to be taken out. The biggest challenge you'll face as a commander is battling the other team's commander for use of the cruise missile. It's the most valuable commodity to a commander and is capable of taking out entire squads and vehicles in a single blow. First, let's cover defense. To block an incoming missile attack, you can use the EMP. This will detonate the cruise missile mid-air over its target. But don't be so quick to blast an EMP as soon as you hear a launch. Since cruise missiles take about 30 seconds to reach your target and EMPs last about 20 seconds, your EMP will expire before the missile reaches it. Generally, wait until you see the missile moving on the screen before deploying an EMP to ensure it gets blocked. However, there is an exception. EMPs don't have to be placed on the missile's target to be effective. In fact, they can block a missile anywhere along its trajectory. If the missile flies into it, it'll be blocked. So you can place it along its flight path to not only hide your troops, but to take out the missile as well. Double duty. Also, the closer you place the EMP to the airborne missile, the more likely it is to work because it gives the enemy commander less time to counter it with a proxy attack. A second blocking method is the proxy attack. Once initiated, all enemy commander activities are rendered useless, including the cruise missile. The best part is it can't be blocked and it can destroy the missile immediately, even while it's still off screen. Timing is crucial to its effectiveness because the inability to block it is a two-way street with the proxy attack. Now that you know how to counter a cruise missile, let's cover offensive tactics. Before launching a cruise missile, make sure your proxy attack is fully recharged. You want to pick targets that are either stationary, such as vehicles or HVTs camping in the back, or large groups of troops that aren't mobile to ensure a direct hit. Basically, you're guessing where the enemy is going to be 30 seconds in the future. Make sure you know the maps you're playing so you have an idea where people are likely to form up. Key features like flags, rooftops, ridge lines, walls, etc. are good places to find people. You can determine whether a target is on a rooftop or ground level by using the 3D view in a circular motion. Using your spatial perception, you can ascertain their locations. Targets on ground level will move slower, and those on rooftops will move quicker. Only targets on rooftops will be affected by a cruise missile. Picking the moment to fire isn't exact, but you're better off waiting until shortly after the enemy has launched a proxy attack, but we'll touch on that in a second. Now that you've picked a target, launch your missile and count to 15. If the enemy launches an EMP, don't worry. After the 15-second mark, launch a proxy attack. It'll disable the EMP. If you waited until after a proxy attack to launch your missile, then the enemy commander won't be able to counter it in any way or be able to issue an evac order immediately before impact. You might be asking yourself, why did we launch shortly after a proxy attack? Let's say the enemy commander is pretty clever and monitors the enemy's missile recharge and knows an attack is imminent. He'll save that proxy and use it immediately after missile launch to destroy it. If that happens, there's nothing you can do about it. If you did launch after a proxy attack but close to it being recharged, why is the 15-second mark so important? That's the duration of a proxy attack. Launching before 15 seconds will block an EMP, but the proxy attack will expire before the missile reaches its target. That leaves a small window of opportunity for the enemy commander to counter with their own proxy attack, thereby destroying your own missile. So timing of the launch is critical to a successful strike. Some maps will be shorter than others for the cruise missile to hit its target, and you'll have to adjust, but as a general rule of thumb, 15 is a good starting point. But the key to be a successful commander is variability. Keep the enemy commander guessing and they won't be able to predict your actions. Now that you're an expert commander, let's look at some Battlelog strategies to complete assignments quicker. There are 4 commander-specific assignments available. 1 bronze, 2 silver, and 1 gold. By my command requires that you be rank 20, obtain 10 leadership ribbons, and 10 resupply ribbons. Reaching rank 20 and 10 resupply ribbons are easy. Just make sure to drop supply crates as often as possible. Getting those 10 leadership ribbons will be tough. Each ribbon requires not only squad leaders to accept your orders, but 10 times in a single match. Since squads require a lot of orders, you're better off choosing Conquest large maps with 64 or 48 players, are full or nearly full, have an available commander spot, high ticket count, and the battle isn't one-sided. Conquest will allow you to frequently change up your orders to your squads. If you find squads that actually accept orders, focus on giving them orders often and support them. The larger ticket counts and even balance will make sure the game doesn't end quickly and will increase your chances of getting the leadership ribbons. Once By My Command is completed, it'll unlock Offensive Commander. It requires the aforementioned assignment to be completed, 30 cruise missile kills, designate 10 HVTs, and deploy 50 gunships. For cruise missile kills, you don't want to rely on both teams playing tug of war over a single flag, so you're better off playing obliteration because you always start with the cruise missile and you'll keep it as long as one of your bases isn't blown up. Typically, it'll be C point, but it will vary based on the map. Be selective with your maps and choose only those with no commanders online. It's hard enough to get cruise missile kills, and even harder with another commander trying to block your moves. If none are available, that's okay because you'll eventually get the kills and there is no round-based requirement. It'll just take longer. My personal favorites are Hainan Resort, Zavad 311, and Lanking Dam due to people congesting the rooftops. They make for easy cluster kills. For HVTs, choose Conquest large maps that are pretty full but the score is lopsided. If one team is dominating the other, you're more likely to find players with large kill-death ratios. Just ensure you're on the losing side so that the HVTs are available for you to tag. For deploying 50 gunships, again you'll need to choose Conquest large maps, but only specific ones. The only maps that currently have gunships available are Dawnbreaker, Galmud Railway, Lanking Dam, Paracel Storm, and Rogue Transmission. Concentrate on ordering your squads to take and hold C points so you can constantly deploy the gunship. The last two assignments are Tinfoil Hat and We'll Meet Again. Both require you to be rank 50 to start this. Tinfoil Hat requires 10 Commander Surveillance ribbons, 30 EMP bonuses, and 20 Spotting ribbons. If you follow my tips for the scan and EMP UAVs, you'll achieve this in no time flat. We'll Meet Again requires 100 cruise missile launches and 50 early warnings. Launching 100 cruise missiles is no easy feat, so you'll want to choose Obliteration again. It doesn't matter if they get blocked or you get kills, you just need to launch them as often as possible. Same goes for the evac orders. Issue them as often as possible. If you want, put them off the beaten path like the open ocean or the backwoods so no one will ever receive them and you'll still receive credit for it. That should cover just about everything for Commander Mode. I hope you found this tutorial informative and I hope it'll make you a better and more effective commander. As always, I'd like to give special thanks to my good friend Rico for his help in the making of this tutorial. If you liked this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. Until next time, have a good one and take it easy.